We hold these truths to be self-evident.
I have a dream today.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
We've accomplished so much throughout history, as a nation, as an organization, and as an association.
We've come so far in the agricultural industry. It's taken leaders, advocates, and innovators.
But we believe we can do more, much more. You can do more.
Every single person has the ability to accomplish incredible things.
The potential to make a difference in agriculture, in your school, and in your life.
The potential is already inside you.
But change can only start with a single action, a single step.
You can be the change. Through personal growth and continual self-improvement, we can build leaders, grow communities, and strengthen agriculture.
It all starts with taking the step towards
Service,
Education,
Relationships,
Careers,
community,
advocacy.
mentorship.
leadership.
So what are you going to do?
How will you
take the step?
This is for the busted hearts. This is for the question marks. This is for the outcast soul, lost control, no one knows. Sing it for the can't go back. Sing it for the broken past. Sing it for the just found out life is now upside down. If you're looking for hope tonight, raise your hand. If you feel alone and don't understand, if you're fighting the fight of your life, then stand. We're gonna make it through this hand in hand. And if we fall, we will fall together. Together.
This is for the second chance. This is for the new romance. Singing for the left in vain. Overcame. It's not too late.
If you're looking for hope tonight, raise your hand. If you feel alone and don't understand, if you're fighting the fight of your life, then stand. We're gonna make it through this hand in hand. And if we fall, we will fall together.
The convention will come to order. We're now hosting the first ever virtual New Mexico FFA State Convention. Mr. Vice President, are all officers at their station?
I shall call the roll of officers, determine if they are at their stations, and report back to you, Mr. President. The Sentinel.
Stationed by the door.
Your duties there?
Through this door pass many friends of the FFA. It is my duty to see that the door is open to our friends at all times and that they are welcome. I care for the meeting room and paraphernalia. I strive to keep the room comfortable and assist the President in maintaining order.
The reporter.
The reporter is stationed by the flag.
Why by the flag?
As the flag covers the United States of America, so I strive to inform the people in order that every man, woman, and child may know that the FFA is a national organization that reaches from the state of Alaska to the Virgin Islands and from the state of Maine to Hawaii.
The treasurer.
Stationed at the emblem of Washington.
Your duties there?
I keep a record of receipts and disbursements just as Washington kept his farm accounts carefully and accurately. I encourage thrift among the members and strive to build up our financial standing through savings and investments. George Washington was better able to serve his country because he was financially independent.
The secretary.
Stationed by the ear of corn.
Your duties there?
I keep an accurate record of all meetings and correspond with other secretaries wherever corn is grown and FFA members meet.
The advisor.
Here by the owl.
Why stationed by the owl?
The owl is a time-honored emblem of knowledge and wisdom. Being older than the rest of you, I'm asked to advise you from time to time as the need arises. I hope that my advice will always be based on true knowledge and ripened with wisdom. Mr. Vice President, why do you keep a plow at your station?
The plow is a symbol of labor and tillage of the soil. Without labor, neither knowledge nor wisdom can accomplish much. My duties require me to assist at all times in directing the work of our organization. I preside over meetings in the absence of our president, whose place is beneath the rising sun.
Why is the president so stationed?
The rising sun is the token of a new era in agriculture. If we will follow the leadership of our president, we shall be led out of the darkness of selfishness and into the glorious sunlight of brotherhood and cooperation. Mr. President, all officers are at their stations.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. The Secretary will call the roll of members.
There are numerous members and guests present, Mr. President.
Thank you. FFA members, why are we here?
To practice brotherhood, honor agricultural opportunities and responsibilities, and develop those qualities of leadership which an FFA member should possess.
May we accomplish our purposes. I now declare this session of the 92nd New Mexico FFA State Convention duly open for the transaction of business or attention to any matters which may properly be presented. Welcome to the second day of the 92nd New Mexico FFA State Convention. Watch out because your next session chair is like no other that you've ever seen before. He's crazy smart, creative, funny, and he's been a true blessing to this state officer team. He's proudly representing the Mesa Vista FFA chapter, and he's got some super cool stuff planned for this session. Without further ado, your next session chair, Ryan Garcia.
Now listen, when I saw this scene, I thought it was awesome. I was like, I can do that. But boy, was I wrong. I couldn't even make it through 5 karate classes. But hey, it was worth a shot. I hope that throughout this session, you'll see the hard work and dedication that goes into becoming a true Kung Fu master. Now, it's time to get down to some more serious Kung Fu business. In this session, we will be recognizing our precise program of activities. We will meet our master senseis, our leaders of leaders, and bow down to our striking, superior, and national chapters. We will also hear the retiring remarks from one of our own Kung Fu apprentices, Case and Queener. So without further ado, let's kick off this session. All right, young Kung Fu students, now it's time to see what training is really like. Let's check out this scene from The Karate Kid to find out.
I put my jacket on 1,000 times, and I took it off 1,000 times, okay? This is stupid. I'm done. They can beat me up if they want to. And you know why you only have one student? Because you don't know Kung Fu.
Xiao Zhui,
What?
come here. Check it on.
Mr. Han, I already...
Check it on. Check it on.
I don't have a jacket.
Jacket on. Be strong. Check it on. Firm. Check it off. Remember, always strong.
As you can see, the first day of Kung Fu training doesn't always go according to plan. But some chapters in the state have turned planning into a science. At the beginning of the school year, each chapter must develop a written plan that explains the activity that they will be involved in the next year. This serves as a roadmap for the chapters for the coming months and is called the Program of Activities. In order to receive a superior rating in the New Mexico FFA Association, a chapter must first submit their program of activities to the state office by no later than December 4th. From there, a top program will be selected based on attractive presentation, number of activities, and quality of these activities. I am pleased to announce that year 2020 New Mexico FFA state-winning program of activities belongs to the Artesia FFA chapter. Every good warrior requires training. This training is often done by the people who know it best and are experts, the senseis. And just like a good warrior, my teammates and I have a few people that have made a true impact on us throughout our year of service. The Leaders of Leaders Award is designed to recognize the chapter advisors and school administrators for each of our state officers. It is their support and inspiration that have helped us to reach our goal of wearing a New Mexico Association jacket. Throughout our year as state officers, our advisors offer us support, advice, and a great deal of patience, which adds tremendously to the vision we hold as leaders. We would also like to thank the school administrators for their continued support and guidance. New Mexico state officers are very busy people, traveling to chapter visits, Colt, NMLC, National Convention, State Convention, and various other events. Without the support of our school and community, we would not be successful state officers. At this time, my team and I would like to introduce to you our Leaders of Leaders.
Mr. Marta, thank you for always being the much-needed comedic relief in the ag classroom. Thank you for always believing in me and pushing me harder than I thought I could go. Although you never fully caught on to the pasture and range or land judging competitions, your influence on me will last a lifetime, and the past 5 years would have been impossible without your constant support and guidance. Mrs. Garcia, thank you for always offering me words of encouragement and advice whenever I needed it. I'll never forget the memories we made at the Indianapolis Haunted House almost 3 years ago. Although you only taught me for 1 semester, the lessons I've learned and the jokes we've made throughout the years will last a lifetime. Mrs. Cummings, thank you for always being an amazing mentor and my favorite photographer my whole life. Thank you for always helping me out in every aspect of my life and offering very important and very honest advice anytime I needed it. New Mexico FFA, it is my privilege and my honor to present to you my Leaders of Leaders, Mr. Julian Marta, Mrs. Charlotte Garcia, and Mrs. Christy Cummings.
Mr. Miles Mitchell. Boy, oh boy, Big Mitch. You know, Mom always says they broke the mold when they made you, and she couldn't be closer to the truth than that one. But nonetheless, I'm so incredibly grateful to have you as my dad and to have you as someone who has stood beside me in every step of the way throughout my FFA career. You've been there to listen to every single rendition of the creed I've had, every speech and every set of reasons I've said, and even if I fell straight on my face, you were always there to support me. I'm glad to have been a part of your ag teaching legacy, and I will be forever grateful for those moments in the classroom with you. Ms. Kaufman, thank you for being the person who never stopped to ensure that I reached success in every outlet that I involved myself in. You were definitely a person who I went to for advice, for mentorship. You were the first person I'd give a speech to, and you were someone who was unwavering in your support, and I'm always grateful for that. Thank you so much. And lastly, Miss Ellett. Miss Ellett was actually never my ag teacher, but in 8th grade when I moved to Artesia, I was in her science class, and from that moment forward, she was someone who never stopped encouraging and never stopped motivating me. My junior year, I judged horticulture with her, and she was that exact same way, and I'm always grateful for her to send lending support, so thank you for that. New Mexico FFA, I'm proud to present to you my Leaders of Leaders, Mr. Miles Mitchell, Mrs. Raylyn Kaufman, and Mrs. Haley Ellett.
Mr. Pinnell, being my first ag teacher, you definitely made a lasting impression. You pushed me to be humble yet competitive all at the same time. Thank you for your guidance and your support even when you left the classroom. Thank you for showing up even when you didn't have to anymore. You showed me that my self-worth is still important even without a medal or a plaque. I will always consider you one of the greats. Thank you, Mr. P. Lane Hand, thank you for choosing to invest your time in your students. You always saw the best in your kids, and thankfully, you saw that in me too. Your ability to lead the chapter in being professional, yet goofy at the same time, allowed each student to grow. Your support pushed me to where I am today, so thank you for believing in me. I definitely owe you some Cheez-Its and a Dr. Pepper for that. Thank you for everything, for making an impact on my life. New Mexico FFA, I'd like to introduce to you my leaders of leaders, Mr. Todd Pinnell and Mr. Lane Hand.
Mr. Johnson, thank you for being more than just my advisor, role model, but family. You have inspired me by your undeniable passion for the organization and how you have helped motivate so many members. I am so glad that we have shared so many wonderful memories together. Thank you for always being there to help me out no matter what chapter I was attending, and for always being just that one phone call away. I'm so blessed to have you as one of my leaders of leaders. Mr. Proctor, or should I say Dr. Proctor, I have enjoyed those 2 long years we shared together, from your jokes, sarcasm, wit, and most of all, your love for the organization. You were there with your endless recommendation letters, guidance, and answered any questions I might have had along the way. I am so thankful for your endless support and the knowledge you have given me. Thank you for making me feel safe most of the time, except the one time you left me at state CDEs. I have cherished each and every moment we have been able to share together, and I am so grateful to consider you one of my leaders of leaders. New Mexico FFA, my leaders of leaders, Tony Johnson and Todd Proctor.
Ms. Roybal, when you first walked into the FFA classroom my sophomore year, I know we didn't always see eye to eye. Little did I know in that moment, one of the best teachers I'd ever have was walking into my life. You've always supported me in all of my endeavors, whether it be playing with wildlife and trees or making the big decision to run for district and then eventually state office. Thank you for helping to guide me in my journey. Not only are you the best advisor I could have ever asked for, but I'm also honored to call you my friend. Your last name may be different now, but I know that your ability to influence students' lives for the better will never change. New Mexico FFA, it is my extreme honor to introduce to you my leader of leaders, Miss Mabel Roybal.
Miss Lujan, thank you for being one of the greatest influences in my life. I am so thankful you forced me to join FFA and compete in the Creed contest. FFA has forever changed my life, and without you, that would not be possible. You hold a legacy in this state association, and there is a reason for that. Thank you so much for everything you have ever done for me. I will forever be grateful. New Mexico FFA, I am proud to present to you my leader of leaders, Miss Connie Lujan.
Mr. Barnes, there are no words to describe how thankful I am for you. Thank you for sticking the creed in front of this clueless little 8th grade girl and taking a chance on me. Thank you for taking me under your wing when you didn't have to, and never letting me quit. I wouldn't be the person I am today without you. Thank you for your constant support and investment. It means the world to me. And Miss Doherty, thank you for believing in me when I didn't believe in myself. You didn't have to, but you did. But it means more than you know. Thank you for always sticking by my side and teaching me how to love others so well. I will always cherish our endless laughs and memories. Thank you for being one of the most supportive people in my life. I couldn't have done any of this without you. Thank you for being my #1 fan and shoulder to cry on. I owe it all to you. New Mexico FFA, I am so proud to introduce to you my leaders of leaders, Mr. Mike Barnes and Mrs. Ginger Doherty.
Mr. Howard, from the day you walked into my middle school trying to recruit kids for the FFA, I knew that you would always be someone who I had in my corner. You encouraged me to try so many new things throughout my FFA career, and you gave me the courage and the confidence to run for state office. You guided me throughout my high school career, in life, and even in my walk with Christ. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you for all you've done for me. Now, Miss Goody, throughout high school, I knew that you were always someone that I could come to talk to about anything. Whenever I needed some advice, encouragement, or motivation, I knew I could count on you. Thank you for all you did for me and for what you continue to do for the Las Cruces FFA chapter. New Mexico FFA, I am proud to introduce my leaders of leaders, Mr. Pat Howard and Miss Jessica Goody.
A few chapters in the state are comparable to this ultimate level of dedication, practice, and execution. They do everything together and they do it well. Chapters from all around the state spend their year competing in various events, becoming involved in their community, and changing the lives of others. It is their commitment, dedication, and support for agriculture that helps them to excel. In some cases, chapters receive a superior rating, meaning that they carry out a high level and high quality of FFA activities.
Let's meet our 2020 New Mexico FFA Superior chapters. The Carlsbad FFA chapter, the Cliff FFA chapter, the Hagerman FFA chapter, the Mesa Vista FFA chapter, the Harding County FFA chapter, the Silver City FFA chapter, and the Centennial FFA chapter. And our state-winning Superior chapter is the Mesa Vista FFA chapter.
Congratulations to all of our Superior chapters. These chapters set a model of excellence in our state, and some have the opportunity to continue to represent at the national level. The National Chapter Award Program is designed to recognize chapters who actively implement the mission and strategies of the FFA organization.
We're excited to submit the following 5 chapters to the national level. The Carlsbad FFA chapter, the Centennial FFA chapter, the Cliff FFA chapter, the Mesa Vista FFA chapter, and the Silver City FFA chapter. Congratulations to all of our Superior chapters.
I would now like to call Caitlin Queener, Sydney Johnson, and Landon Knight to introduce our next speaker.
Queener, you are the smartest, most kind, and most pure person that I will ever meet. From all the laughs, cries, and stressful situations that you went through this year, I was so happy to be a part of it all. This year I had the opportunity to give you your state FFA jacket, and I am so proud to say that you used that jacket well. I'm very proud of you and all the different things and impacts that you have had on these FFA members. And I'm so excited to say that I know that this service will not end when you're done with the blue jacket, and that you will continue to have an impact on people's lives around you for the rest of your life.
Kason, what a year this has been. I'm so proud to call you one of my best friends, my teammate, and my soul sister. I can't imagine doing life, FFA, or college without you. You're always one to put others' needs before yourself, and you always serve with such grace. Your love for others and your love for Christ truly shines within you. I am so proud of you, and I love you dearly. We are so proud to introduce to you your 2019-2020 District 4 President, State Vice President, Kason Queener.
Oh, Father, tell me, do we get what we deserve?
Besides the flatlands of eastern New Mexico and the slow speed limits, I figured once I hit the Honda Valley, I would be in the clear. When I think of the Honda Valley, many thoughts race through my mind. The view of mountains, cattle, and the twisty roads brought ease to the 6-hour drive to Las Cruces. Everything was going perfect. Patsy Cline softly hummed through the car in my mind as I was about to pull in to Ruidoso. Until I realized I had a low tire. No big deal, I thought. I pulled into the next gas station to check the tire. However, there was no air pump, and I noticed the tire was getting really low, really fast. I still had 2 hours to go and knew that if I decided to drive on a low tire, it'd probably not be the greatest decision on my part, so I decided to find a tire shop. I was running on time so far, and the thought of being late to any events during my state officer year was completely out of the question. So, of course, I got in a little bit more of a hurry. For years, I have promised others that I'm a really good driver, no matter what they think my credentials are. However, that day, I broke my promise. I saw a tire shop across the street and needed to change lanes as quickly as possible. Now, I drive a Mustang, and her name is Selena. Selena has driven a total of 30,000 miles with me and has sang many songs with me as well. She is a speedy gal and is able to get me where I need to be, especially when I'm in a hurry. However, Selena does have two flaws. One, she has practically no windows, and two, she has 1,000 blind spots. I looked in my side mirror and went to change lanes. And this is where my perfect road trip turned into a complete fiasco, and I no longer wanted to hear the heartbreak songs by Patsy. A honk came from behind me, and next thing I know, an orange minivan, twice the size of my car, crushes the entire driver's side. I immediately began screaming and heard a loud crash that could only lead to things getting worse. I noticed that my side mirror was no longer attached to my car. I was totally defeated and felt as if this situation couldn't get any worse. Boy, was I wrong. I pulled into the Denny's parking lot as the minivan followed. I stepped out of the vehicle and stared at the damage in total defeat. The mirror, gone, the door dented, and the taillight busted. I turned to look at the damage of the other vehicle. Not a single scratch. I was a hysterical mess. My whole body started shaking, and tears were just uncontrollably running down my face. This has been the third wreck I've gotten into since I've had this car, and all I could think was, why does this always happen to me? Anyways, the lady got out of her car, and we swapped insurance information. As I began telling her that I was going to call the cops so we could get a quick police report, she asked me not to. And this is where it gets worse. Again. She proceeds to say, please don't call the cops. I'm on probation right now. And I was just like, I don't know if I'm standing in front of the cartel or a serial killer, so of course, more tears just started running out of my eyes. I proceeded to say, I'm just gonna call my dad really quick and let you know. Instead, I called the cops and they came right away. They gave me the ticket, and thankfully I got away without being kidnapped. I have decided that I have not had the best car luck, seeing that Mr. Whitener hit my car with a bus. I've been rear-ended multiple times, and many tires have had to be replaced. However, I decided that this was my tradition. Not a perfect one by any means, but it truly reminded me just how bad of a driver I really was. It was no surprise to anyone when I told them that I got into another accident. We all have traditions in our own lives. While some may be silly, others are sentimental. Traditions remind us of who we are and where we come from. Traditions will be cherished forever, whether that's baking with mom, bike club with the siblings, or just a good road trip with friends. Traditions keep us grounded and allow us to refresh our lives with something familiar. But what if I told y'all that not every tradition in our lives turns out for the good? That every tradition is not worth repeating. For as long as I can remember, life was never consistent. And what I mean by that is life with mom was somewhat of an adventure. I remember moving from town to town and house to house. I was a professional packer and mover by the time I was in the 6th grade. I never thought much of it besides that it was a new place. I was always excited to redecorate my new room, or maybe mom would finally let us get a new dog at the house. I never questioned why we moved so much. I kind of just accepted it as more of an adventure. Being young made me blind to the traditions in my own family that were damaging. Of course, I had the best mother who never failed to be there. However, getting older, I realized we never stayed stable. Whether we were moving again or she was jumping to a new job, I realized my sisters and I were paying the price for what we thought used to be a fun tradition. Getting older, I noticed things changing. I realized that moving all the time wasn't supposed to be an adventure. I realized that my mother was not the same woman that had raised me. Turns out that she had become addicted to prescription painkillers. This wasn't something she wanted to do, nor something she planned. However, she let it become her tradition, to be her controller. I watched my mother, the strongest, kindest woman that I have ever met, slowly fall apart. I watched her try to quit time and time again, and each time failed by the next week. I watched my mother slur her words and forget what she was even talking about. She would forget to get dinner one night and pick us up from school the next day. Each day was a tradition repeating itself. But one day, the tradition stopped. The addiction continued to worsen, and eventually, there's going to be a breaking point. While clipping dairy heifers one morning, my sister Caitlin told me, "Mom is only breathing this morning, but isn't waking up." We were scared to tell anyone because we knew there was a chance she could lose her job. There was a chance they wouldn't let us live with her. But we also knew if we didn't tell anyone, there was a chance we would never see her again. So we called 911, and they came and picked her up and took her to the hospital immediately. They admitted her into the ER and told us everything is going to be okay. Perfect. So with relief in my heart, I sat in the waiting room and waited and waited and waited. I felt as if I was sitting there for days. The doctor would come back once every hour with updates, usually about things that I didn't understand. As the hours went on, my anxiety kept on rising. The longer I sat there, the more doubts filled my mind. What was going to happen? Why did she do this? Was she going to leave the hospital with us or not? Instead of allowing my compulsive thoughts to take over, I decided to look back to something familiar about my mom. Our road trips to Rito, so listening to Patsy Cline, and to this day, I still do that. She would buy us a candy every time she went into the gas station, and she always helped out at the barn, even when she didn't have to. She was always the mom that she needed to be. I found the strength I needed that night by looking back to something familiar, by refreshing my life with the traditions with my mom. More time went by, and eventually the doctor finally came back. He sat down and began explaining that her liver was shutting down. She had taken too many pills for her body to handle. He proceeded to say that she wasn't going to make it. In that moment, all I can remember is an adrenaline rush straight to my brain. People were crying, freaking out, talking, but I couldn't hear anything. I had so many words, feelings, and emotions inside, but I couldn't speak a single thing. My mom overdosed. How are you supposed to take that news? She allowed her traditions to become controlling. She allowed her traditions damage her and our family. Now, I love my family very much and would not be the person I am today without them. However, I felt as if they gave me a tradition not to follow. They committed to the wrong things. They showed me the way not to go. I decided that it was time to break that tradition. From this point, I had a choice, either to follow the damaging traditions and to make the same decisions, or to make my own tradition, to create something that would be worth passing down. This is a hard truth, but it is a real truth as well. Whether you live in an abusive home and you never feel good enough, or perhaps you've been surrounded by others who have a hard time controlling their temper. I know there are some of you who spend too many nights alone without a friend to talk to. We've all been surrounded by friends who pressure us to be someone we're not. Or maybe you're a little like me and know the feeling of having a parent with an addiction and don't know what to do. We are all stuck in unique situations. We all face a crossroad. and we're not always sure what step to take next. However, what your family chooses to do does not have to be what you choose. What your friends decide each day does not have to be your decision. Your tradition is based off of you and no one else. Your tradition is not failure. Your tradition is not following the steps of others. Your tradition is what makes you, you. Lead when no one else will lead. Each of you are the future of our organization, our industry, and our world. If we allow ourselves to submit to the traditions and habits that don't bring out the best in us, we will never be able to influence the rest of the world. Now, I know that we are all products from what we experience. However, you don't have to become what you experience. You become what you choose. Now, I want everyone to imagine that they have their shoes on the wrong feet. Right shoe on left foot and left shoe on right foot. It would be uncomfortable, right? Imagine walking all day with your shoes on the wrong feet. It would be hurting and you would no longer want to walk as much. However, we all have common sense and know to put our shoes on the right feet when we get up in the morning. We also know good from bad. I know that if I choose to walk in the same footsteps of my mother, my walk each day will be more difficult, just as if I put my shoes on the wrong feet in the morning. In our lives, we have a choice, either to put our shoes on the right feet, to create our own path and walk out that door, or to put our shoes on the wrong feet and walk crooked in the past of our mistakes and allow it to become our tradition. New Mexico FFA, be a creator, be a healer, be a leader. Be anything you want. This is your life and this is your choice. I may have wrecked my car one too many times. I may not have my mom around anymore. But I do know that I can make a choice. We can't erase the mistakes of our past, of our friends, our families, and ourselves if we hold to those traditions and walk in the same path every day. Keep what grows you and walk away from what holds you. You make the decision. Break the tradition that will eventually break you, or create a tradition that will be worth repeating for generations to come.
I'll be the light that shines for you when you forget how beautiful you are. I'll be there to remind you when you can't find your way, I'll find my way to you. When troubles come around, I will come to you. I'll be your shoulder when you need someone to lean on. Be your shelter when you need someone to see you through. I'll be there to carry you. I'll be there. I'll be the rock that will be strong for you. The one that will hold on to you when you feel that rain falling down. When there's nobody else around, I'll be.
Kaysen, thank you for being this team's Lil Mama. You have been the absolute best accountability partner, and it has been a blessing to get to know you. Though you are the smallest person on this team, you have one of the biggest and most caring hearts. I know you will leave and have left a lasting impression on the members of this organization. I am so proud of you, and I thank you for helping this state officer team create new traditions. Love Brandon, Coel, Ty, Kara, Sydney, Denny, and Ryan. New Mexico FFA, I am proud to introduce to you your District 4 President, State Vice President, Kaysen Queener.
When there's nobody else around, I'll be.
Dad, thank you for playing a huge role in my life as my dad, friend, and #1 supporter. You never failed to put me in my place, yet always show me love through the best hugs. I love you. Jennifer, I can never express how grateful I am for you coming into my life, especially when you didn't have to. Your love for Christ inspires me daily. You definitely made our house into a home. Big love for you always. Katie, you started as my roommate and turned into my best friend through life. I wouldn't want another person going through life by my side except for you. Love you always. Boys, you are the excitement and unknowing surprises in my life. No matter how tall y'all are, I'll always be your big sis. Love you always. New Mexico FFA, I'd like to introduce to you my parents, Jason and Jennifer Queener.
During this session, we have seen the accomplishments of dozens of individuals and chapters who helped make our state association one of the greatest. We have heard the inspirational words from one of our own state officers, Kason Queener, and thank those individuals who have showed us the importance and value of leadership. Thank you for joining us for the fourth session of the New Mexico FFA State Convention. Please be reminded that district meetings will take place following this session, and our next session will take place at 3 p.m. We hope to see you there.